More contagious than Corona, more inviting than the Queen. MTL, we hope the show goes well. And please don't be cock.
Welcome to MTL. So nice to have you back again. Third week in a row, and our viewership has spiked to a phenomenal figure. Give yourselves a round of applause, ladies and gents inside. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. It's been so amazing, in fact, that we have received our first sponsorship deal. Yes, can we have another clap for that, please?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much to Urban Crust. You guys are amazing. You guys gave us these unbelievable pizzas. We had them. How were they, guys? How were they?
Yeah, pretty good. I crusted
Pretty
my
good.
gut.
Pretty good. We crusted our guts, so big thanks to them. They can be found on Taurus Avenue at the Shell Garage, just opposite the Sundowner Plaza, as well as their new premises in Braamfontein, and another one that's opened in Parkhurst. So thank you so much, guys. They're going to be feeding us and our guests each and every week. But speaking of guests, today I have two of the most special individuals in my life. Not only are they incredible entertainers in their own rights, but they're also somewhat of family members of mine, being members of Swing City. And it's an absolute pleasure to have Mr. Loyiso Bala and Mr. Nathan Rowe in the house. How are you, lads?
Lovely and you, Graham Watkins.
Magical. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So
Thank you.
You know, we've had Cindy Alter on the show. We've had Khan Morby, and we've kind of all addressed the very similar situation, which is the COVID-19 thing. Okay, it's quite of an ugly situation for us as performing artists. Loy, how's it been for you? I know that you kind of wear many hats. You've just finished your NBA, so you can play professional basketball now. How are you finding the whole COVID thing?
Well, I mean, the whole COVID thing, I think, is pretty freaky. Every now and then you get a moment when you're like, what the heck is going on?
I know, right?
It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we're all just learning to kind of live with it. I've been busier than normal, because we're all obviously we're content creators. And the silver lining of this entire thing is the fact that it actually forces creatives to be creative.
Yeah.
So I know people, a lot of people are complaining out there and they're saying, you know what, I'm not doing what I usually do, but I'm like, but you're a creative, and maybe this gives you an opportunity to actually exercise that muscle, which is being creative. At the same time, I'm not talking down, obviously, to anyone who is struggling at this time.
Yeah,
yes,
no,
I think,
Yeah, but it is.
a lot of us are feeling the strain, but one has just got to find the silver lining, because you need to keep living, and I need to keep smiling for my kids. You know,
You're
imagine
right,
every time I got home, I'm always just like, so I need to find something to smile about and not just have to pretend when I get home.
Yeah. And you, Nate, how's it going with you, mate?
Yeah, I've had an interesting one. I mean, I suppose it didn't really affect me much because I work from home a lot of the time. Obviously, I can't gig with you guys, which I've missed a lot.
So much, yeah.
So much. But yeah, I mean, I've been working from home. I've been on days when I don't have work to do. I just, like Loyiso says, you got to keep that muscle fit, otherwise you get creative atrophy.
Which muscle? Oh, okay,
the
yeah,
creative
okay,
muscle.
yes,
Think
okay.
creatively, Graham.
Yes, okay, got you.
Yeah, so you don't want to get creative atrophy, which is, if you don't use that muscle, it gets painful and hard to use. so you got to keep doing it. So
is it still the same?
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
it's
all right.
still the creative
Okay,
muscle.
all right.
So yeah, I've been creating things. I've made little nature documentaries in my garden.
Yeah, I've seen you out and about. You've made some really cool kids shows as well, which you and
Tammany Barton.
Tammany, you guys have been doing some cool things, man.
Yeah, we just finished writing a musical.
How exciting is that?
Wow.
Yeah, so if theatres ever open, we'll...
all you need now is
that
for
on.
the world to get better, and you could actually potentially make... What's the musical about?
It's a story about a vampire that needs to rebuild his soul. And yeah, that's
Going to be amazing, guys. I can tell you right now, if you've ever been on the receiving end of this man's creativity, it is nothing short of it. It's going to be hysterical, bro.
So there's a vampire who's trying to build his soul, who's trying to find his soul.
So basically, when vampires get bitten, they lose their soul, right? They die.
Oh, you mean
but they're still
people
living.
When vampires get bitten.
Or when people...
Sorry, yeah. When people get bitten by vampires.
There we go.
Like
Yeah, their souls get taken.
Like Tony Blair.
Tony Blair. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he goes on a journey to learn how to taste emotions. So emotions make up the soul.
Okay.
So he has to learn to taste emotions in the blood to rebuild his soul. So it's kind of like a wine tasting, but with blood.
I love that. That's pretty cool. So Did you kind of start that at the beginning of lockdown, or was it?
Yeah,
something that
so I
you've been-
started writing it in January, and yeah, it's done. Music is done.
'Cause you
Demos
were-
are recorded.
I mean, we lost you for a while.
Yeah,
Loy
we
and
did
I
for like
were
a whole year.
We're just swing.
yeah,
We missed city.
yeah, I was
because you
doing
were a
kinky
musical, yeah.
boots for 9 months in Cape Town, and obviously that's sort of where the idea came from. I was like, hey, I could do this.
Yeah.
This is easy.
And you were damn good in that. I enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you
I thought it was
kindly.
great. We
Sorry,
actually,
you had
like,
to sit right by a speaker.
Well, we nearly missed our plane because we were like, we have to catch the end of this, and I think we lost the last 5 minutes because we had to get to the airport.
so just the important bit.
yeah,
where it
so
all
basically
comes
the whole
together.
reason we were at the production, we missed that. But apart from that, that was absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely
man.
fantastic. Loy,
Yo.
so you kind of started out. I think out of all of us, you've had the longest music career by a country mile. I'm not saying that you're old. I'm just
No,
hashtagging
yeah, I
that
said I
you-
started at 2.
But you have. You've been because you kind of started out at the Drakensberg Boys Choir.
Yeah.
You come from a family of musicians as well. You know, your brothers, obviously the Bala brothers, they all have their own kind of independent careers as well. But just kind of talk us through your beginning stages and your journey as you came into the music industry.
Yeah, so born into a musical family. My mom and dad, they're both from musical families. My grandfather used to be a composer. My great-grandmother used to be a singer. All my uncles have choirs, so does my mom. My mom is still in Newton in the Eastern Cape. She lives there. And she has a choir, and they're just like choirs everywhere. That's how we grew up. You know, at 3 years old, my grandfather, as a composer, used to call. But when I was 3, my grandfather used to call me and then call my sister, everyone else in the house, because he'd written some music, and he'd say, sing this. And we would sing it, and so that he could fix what needed to be fixed, because we didn't have any photostatic machines back then. Well, really, because maybe we did, but we didn't have electricity.
And I tell you
know?
what, you can hear that is a legit story because you've got a hell of an ear. Like you understand pick up harmony and melody very, very quickly.
Yeah. So it started. I mean, it started from from a young age. So, kind of sang. 6, 7 years old, and in the family, because we had a group called the Bala family then, and then got a scholarship to the Drakensberg Boys Choir after following in my brother's footsteps, who was the first black kid in 1988.
Is why.
It was rough then, man. Black lives didn't matter in 1988. Okay.
Yeah, fact.
And so I followed. I joined in 1990. I was there for 6 years. Finished as head of the choir, and then I got a scholarship to go to St. Stithians College, where
very
I
fancy.
finished my high school. I don't know what's that called in fancy language. But you know what?
Money for sure.
Yeah, I finished. Okay, that's all that matters. It was around that time. That's why I then kind of started TKZ. So I got signed to Sony before they actually even heard me sing, all because of how good my brother was. They were like, "That's your brother. He can sing. Let's sign him up before anybody snatches him up."
That's
So
amazing.
So I was signed to them. I wrote songs and then joined TKZ family, and then went into my career. So many years, but it was like 12 years of a lot of that, and there was also Bala Brothers within that as well. We did another Bala family album, traveled all over the world, and then I came to and then did gospel, which I still do now, and still do all other genres as well. With you lads on Swing City, and then studied, and now I work for a Christian broadcaster, TBN, as channel director, amongst other things as well.
So madness, yeah. We want royalties.
Is
still
TBN
feeling
direct competition to
MTL?
MTL.
No, not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. No.
Just wondering.
What's MTL?
This.
Sorry.
You're on it,
Sorry,
Josh. You're on it. Don't. Yeah.
We showed you the jingle.
Yeah, we even played you the jingle. Come in, guys, can we just have a round of applause for the exquisite thing that is our jingle and our brand new intro video. Guys, how beautiful is that? Production team?
Yeah.
Giving me nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I like the Queen.
I like the Queen too.
Mostly because she supports Arsenal. But
Yeah, right. She does support Arsenal, hey? Gunners for life, man. Do you guys support football? You love sport.
I just find it a weird thing to be passionate about. Like, so if we call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
Soccer. Okay.
Sweat.
Imagine being really passionate about billionaires kicking a piece of leather around some grass. for me, that is very strange. Yeah.
When you simplify it like that, it does seem a little bit ridiculous, and it does take the magic out. It's like going, oh, you know what I really hate? I really hate billionaires hacking at this instrument with strings on it in front of millions of people making music.
Are you trying to do
I hate them.
musicians? Because then it's just, look at these poor people just like moving,
Yeah,
making
that's South
vibrations.
Africa specific, dude. Yeah, in South Africa, we're all basically just glorified buskers, man.
Yeah.
The ones with the internet, we'd still be at
But
Spa.
don't speak that over our lives, Graham. We've got a member of TBN here. Don't
No,
speak
you're
that-
right, you're
don't
right.
speak that over our lives. Don't you take that out of the air. You take it away right now.
Speaking of speaking goodness, would you like a non-alcoholic beverage? No, you don't partake it at all. Hey,
I will take a non-alcoholic beverage.
what can I
HBA.
give you? Hey,
What are you having?
Does the bartender have a Bavaria ginger and lime?
I do.
Wow.
I do.
Best
For you.
bartender ever.
I come prepared by reading minds.
yeah, it is
No,
non-scripted.
Not at all. Not at all.
But also, just want to just say
Thanks,
hashtag
Loyiso.
Bavaria. Drop us a couple of rons there. If you'd
Yeah.
like to support our channel, please do so. You can go to you can do so by going to the Husker. I almost said Hustler.
Hustler there for a
Almost said Hustler.
Busker.
You know what
Don't go
they
to
say? No, the words reflect the heart. You can go to our Busker code. You can use Zapper, SnapScan, anything along those lines, and you can support the channel and support the artists that come on the channel and make it all possible for you. Thanks again for your unbelievable support, guys. Also, click the like button and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. It's no point not knowing. If you hit the bell, then you'll know exactly every time we go live. And like I said, our viewership has grown immensely. Kyle can tell us all about how wonderful we've done. How wonderful have we done?
Yeah, I mean, we hit the ground running. Our first event with Khan and Amma Franks, we had, I think it reached around 7,000 views, and we broadcasted to pages with a combined following of around 500,000. And from that, we got people interacting in our next shows as well.
That's a lot of people who have.
Yeah, we're sitting around.
Yeah,
We're sitting around the
yeah.
45,000 mark in there about statistically if we kind of
Yeah, if we add everything together.
we
yeah.
add everything together.
And
So
we've
that's
only become
amazing.
more interactive, so thank you so much.
That's just been
for-
amazing. And all the private messages we've been getting as a channel, it's just been incredible. You know, if you see the space and you see the team, we really do work incredibly hard to bring you cool content. And we're glad that you guys are enjoying it. So thanks so much to you. And your beers. I didn't get a beer. How come I didn't get a beer?
You
Yes,
didn't even
Loyiso.
Tell me which one you want, Graham. Would you like a Heineken?
I'll have a
You know
Heineken,
what?
buddy, please, mate.
Get you a Heineken.
Well, he gets that ready because he said something. He said, you know, because we're streaming to pages that had a combined following of what?
500,000.
Of 500,000. It's funny because I was talking about this to a friend just the other day. I say, you know, there are certain
Thanks, my buddy.
companies, right, who say
Cheers.
that, yeah, combined we have 25 years of experience. I mean, that's like me and my friend at school, right? Saying, well, combined we have 12 years. of
Yeah.
the- I mean,
It's
you
like
know, we
taking
have
both your
24
marks to pass
Combined,
matric,
you know what I
right?
mean?
It's like,
Combined, you and I got
what did you get?
80%.
Ah,
But
I
if
got
you
an
both
E,
down-
brother.
But if that's the thing. If you both damn, you got an E.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's an E, dog. It's not like.
Bruh,
it's not
bruh.
like
Combined, we passed.
Just lend me half your B for woodwork there. Come.
Yeah, so it's like this. I mean, like, this is the reason I was saying, right? So you've got some, you know, because I'm in broadcasting. So like you've got some channels, right? Let me say on DSTV, would be like, yeah, you know, we go out to 3 billion people. You know, our channel goes out to 3 billion people in the world. All because, let's say, for instance, and I don't know what the numbers, I can't remember the numbers top of my head, you know? All because someone is on
Can we stream
is
to
on
your page?
DSTV, and just because there are so many subscribers who then have their families, and they take that universe and say there is this potential. But that's like me saying, why don't you come? What the guy's called again? The wonderful
Urban
guys that gave
Crust,
us-
yeah.
Yeah, Urban Trust, right? And say, listen, why don't you come and advertise on my Facebook page? Because I have, how many people on Facebook?
Me, I've got about 45,000 across
No,
the
no,
board.
but how many people on Facebook?
Oh, just on the, I think,
Just like, you know what
like
I mean?
a badillion.
Yeah, that's what I'm
600
saying. So it's
trillion
kinda say-
million.
I think they're like sitting on 2 billion, right? To
Yeah.
say, listen, there's a potential 2 billion people that will see your ad, all because my profile is on there.
But
I'm just saying.
No, but I agree. I don't want to agree because they're giving us pizza, and we do kind of have that. We have that reached fact. But more importantly, I think it's kind of like your active viewers and your active listeners,
Yes, man,
even
that's
on your
what matters.
Spotify and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and your kind of engagement. And I think Kendall, our guru behind the screen over there, who's doing all the editing and is responsible for all the awesomeness, was saying that if you don't, what was the timeline? It was every 24 hours or 36 hours.
Eh?
So if you don't do a post every 36 hours, Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias forget about you. And you basically get bumped right down to the back end. You feel in your phone now, you're like, I better tweet right now, right? So you're like, I better tweet right now, bro. So they actually forget about you, bro. And look, everyone, the guys are like, oh, we're stressing, no, it's hard.
Don't forget about me.
But it's like the algorithm kicks you out, and you almost have to start again. So that's why the Kardashians, for example, I'll use them as an example because they are a great example of content that has no substance or value to your life. Yet they manage to do it in such an effective way that billions and billions of people follow them, and they have an unbelievable social media presence, and they have an unbelievable business that they've grown from that. I mean, they've grown a business. They're basically Uber. They have no assets. They just, you know what I mean? They kind of rely.
It was billionaires who weren't billionaires.
No, but you know what I mean? Like the content.
Kim
I'm talking about,
Kardashian.
I'm liking.
They paid
I'm
a lot
using
for those
simile here.
assets.
Yeah, look, some of them have got amazing assets, okay? But I'm talking more about the lines of content, the content of like reality TV. It's a very interesting thing that you think. But I mean, it's the same thing with music. In what we do, we've got to make sure that our algorithm gets on the right Spotify page, gets hit by the right playlister at the right time and the right plugger. That's why you have to pay the right plugger. So a lot of people go, oh, you guys make a ton of money, right? But they don't understand that the amount of money that it requires to potentially get successful, to potentially hit the 3 million subscribers that Spotify have, is a massive risk. It's the lotto, bro.
Not me, Graham.
Why?
I don't pay nobody to do anything. That's why nobody's heard of me. I have a very different approach to not being heard of. So yeah.
Hit me, bro. No, but okay, that's actually interesting because you still have, and you are an actively working muso. You make money and you earn a living off being a professional muso, but you aren't doing it from a digital perspective necessarily. Although the content, you can't say that because I'm on your Facebook and I see the stuff that you do, and you are so involved, and you have this little political voice that sometimes it skates on the thinnest of ice. But
I haven't been on Facebook for a month now.
Yeah, well then the algorithm's forgotten
because
about
of
you.
politics.
Yeah, but but that's another thing as well. Like what makes a person sit and go, let's actually watch what we're doing here, and what makes them go, no, I don't care. I'm going to scroll right past. It's like it's interest, but it's also about being top of mind. And what he was saying is that make sure that you have to be there in people's faces all the time, so that you pop up on their algorithm so they can see what you're up to.
Well, one of the things that's worked well for me in lockdown is just being, you know what I was saying about just creating. Even if you're not getting paid for it, keep creating, because that has turned into work for me.
Completely.
So I got an ad the other day that they asked me to sing on.
Because
because of stuff they had seen on Facebook, and it's exactly
doing
that.
what you're supposed to be doing.
And you're staying in someone's eye, and you never know who
that's not
sees it
your-
or shares it.
But my point is, that was not what you wanted to do. Do you know what
No,
I mean?
no,
that
it
was
wasn't
not
the
end
plan,
goal.
yeah.
The end goal was just to take out stuff because you love making stuff.
And isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing that even though you are limited to your physical access to somebody, your potential reach to that person organically is massive, absolutely massive. I can see Mr. September's trying to get my attention. Is it song time?
It is song time for sure.
Is it song time? But speaking of which, you wrote a song last night.
Yeah, I wrote a song last night. It wasn't for the show. I was scrolling through Facebook, and I mean, if you've scrolled through Facebook,
Yeah,
today,
it's a disaster. Yeah.
you know what's going on in the world,
get a
going
song.
in
Yeah, you
States.
get a
Yeah.
song, dog. Yeah.
No, but it literally just came to me because I was feeling so melancholic about what's going on.
No, it's madness.
And it ties in with a very important person's to me dream that they had, as well as did you know that if you fact of the day, did you know that if you smile at the sun, you get more vitamin D because that's where vitamin D enters your body, is through your teeth. So all these weird facts were kind of
But close your eyes because
Yeah,
you
bro.
might lose.
Yeah.
You might lose some. Or else you might lose. Graham. Close your eyes, or else you might lose some vitamin C. Vitamin no C, nothing.
Yeah.
So basically, you just smile at the sun like an anime card.
You'll get vitamin D, but you'll be blind for life.
Someone save Rex.
Oh, Rex! You killed him. Get
Sorry,
out.
I
Go do your
punched-
song.
I punched
Go.
the dinosaur.
Go do your song.
I'm going.
While we try and rectify our amazing set, which cost us a substantial amount of money, we are going to now go over live to Mr. Nathan Rowe. He's going to sing his song about how Facebook makes him feel. Go, my buddy.
It's getting darker early on. All the leaves are crisp and brown, and there's an Arctic wind beyond. The fire we sit around, and although the sky is falling, I get the feeling that the earth is done. You will always find me here, break into a run, smiling at the sun. There are lights where the mountains meet the sky. They're coming to take their turn. But there's a war that rages on. We face forward while our backs burn. And although the sky is falling, I get the feeling that the earth is done. You will always find me here, I'll break into a run, smiling at the sun. The light will take its place. The dark will be undone. And although the sky is falling, I get the feeling that the earth is done. You will always find me here, I'll break into a run, smiling at the sun.
That was Mr. Nathan Rowe with Staring Directly into the Sun to get vitamin D on your teeth. What a lovely song. Is he back yet? There he is. Come back. Come on stage. Come on stage. Claire, round of applause.
Throw some hearts for Nathan Rowe.
So, hey, vitamin D. What a sad song. We're doing so well until
It's not called-
sadness.
it's called Smiling at the Sun.
It is Smiling at the
Not-
Sun. But
not
it had a
vitamin
very,
D.
like you said, it is very melancholy. We are living in a weird time at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you're not affected by the things that are going on in the world today, then I don't know. I don't know if this is your planet, you know?
Yeah, you're made from cast iron. Like,
Yeah.
but is this a good time for musicians to start drawing? Kind of, you know, is it a bit like? I mean, we're all members of Swing City. Swing City started during the Prohibition. It started at a time where people were disallowed many things. A lot of their rights were taken away, and the only way that people got messages of goodwill was through the radio. You know, the songs about larks singing in a tree in the sun being and getting vitamin D. And, you know, are we going back there? Are we going to have to go back to a place now where the art is the thing that kind of rescues the heart in a sense?
Definitely. I hope so anyway. I mean, I think historians, their job is to record what's going on, the facts and, you know, the visuals.
Because
and
art
whatever.
reflects
But
politics.
artists have the job of capturing what's going on and turning it and changing it. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the artistic posts that are going around now, but they're so moving. They really are going to change the world. We're in a time of change and shift. Hopefully, let's hope and pray.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I don't think the world can ever be the same after 2020. So let's hope that artists can shape and steer the world in a more beautiful, more loving, hopefully, direction.
Loy, how much of your songwriting
Yeah.
relies on personal experience? How much of it relies on observation? How much of it is just creative, sort of creative writing in a sense? Creative license?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people, when they talk to me, I said it last week and I'll say it again, I'm still getting messages, people going, oh, your song's sober, is everything all right at home? You know, oh, shame, it's Kim okay. So I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. I don't have to have experienced that. I don't have to have been a reckless drunk over the last 5 years for there to be a song for me to be able to write about
I
it.
resent
Oh,
that.
dude, just pick yourself up off the ground, you stupid woman. So
How much of that? How much of that is there?
So exactly, like how much is it creative and how much is it personal experience?
So, okay. So I think first of all we need to, or rather let's start at this point. I'm a storyteller, but my stories always have a point, you know? Like, you know, Trevor Noah, he's a comedian, but his comedy always kind of has a certain point to it. That's why we can remember it beyond the laugh, you know? And we can joke about it.
It's very controversial in the subject matter, but it's packaged in such a way that you kind of can laugh it off. You sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you go,
yeah, you do.
or you just laugh at it, because how much of that is comedy is like, it's truth.
Yeah,
Absolute truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, and so as much as sometimes we will sing about stuff, and I'm just talking about, you know, but like the songs that I probably wrote before like 2012, you know? Because I don't think I'd really kind of experience. I mean, it was a lot about my experiences, but some of the times you'll remember someone else's story and you'll kind of put it in there in order to tell the story because you want to give off a certain message. Do you know what I mean? So if you was, for instance, if someone is teaching on something, they don't just speak about their stories. They'll put somebody else's story there as well in order to make a point. But it's their point. Do you know what I mean? So I think songwriting has to have that. And also, I mean, if you experience something really, really, really weird, and suddenly now you're going to start singing songs that are really, really weird, they won't connect with your audience. So in other words, I think an artist has got to choose, am I writing songs for myself or am I writing songs that will touch
But I think
people,
basically
but
what
need
you're
to
trying to
connect
say is
with
that
them?
there has to be an element of honesty. Because a pop song generally it's popular music. It's music that relates to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So the subject matter can be, I'm in the club, woo, 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 or maybe I'm having a fight in the club. But then there are great pop songs that are honest. Like Billie Eilish, I think, is a very good
about it
example
right
of it.
now.
I think Billie Eilish's tracks
But
are...
I think, sorry, and I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish.
Too soon. That wasn't Billie Eilish. Taylor Swift.
But the point is you capture a moment. Do you know what I mean? So in other words, capturing a moment, and through a song, you want to bring people to that moment that you've captured. Do you know what I mean? So when I find it fake is when someone is singing about something that they've never experienced. You know, even in gospel music, you cannot take people where you haven't gone. You know, so in other words, like, you know, the song is about bringing people to the throne room, bringing them before God, but you've never actually really been there.
But
or in hip hop, you talk about cars and all sorts of stuff.
I got green Ferrari
but
filled
yet
with
you've
money.
Never owned any of that stuff.
Meantime,
Do
you
know
stay
what I mean?
in like 5 Candace Glades in Maple Drive in Northworld, but you've got a green
Guys singing about Hollywood,
green
they've
Ferrari.
never even been to Botswana.
Damn. Damn.
But but one could also argue, coming from a religious perspective, and I'm actually glad you mentioned that, is that one could argue that in order to write a song, you have to be open to, susceptible to a certain amount of, there's an environment that you create for yourself emotionally and mentally when you're going to write a song. Not so. It creates something, okay? How much of that is you connecting into some weird matrix that is divine or whatever it is, you know? How much of that is received that you don't necessarily have to experience the emotion, but you can impart the feeling of what it is that you're trying to say. So how much of that is you, and how much of that is another? I mean, this is a completely esoteric question. I know he really wants to answer. So let me.
Well, I just want to say a really great musician. I'm sure you all know of him, David Crowder.
Yeah.
He had a thing about, he had an atom on his one album cover, and they asked him why the atom, and he said, no one knows what an atom actually looks like. They know theoretically what it looks like. It's this. It's obviously minuscule, but it's massive in the quantum realm, and it has so much information in it. And all we'd have are these little circles that make a picture of an atom. So he says the picture tells a bigger story, and that's what I feel songwriters do. You take something big, you take a big idea, and you make it small, and you make it like what you were saying. You make it palatable. It's like wow, I'll never be able to eat all of that. Well, here's a little taster, you know. That's almost what musicians do. We take things, we take huge issues that are going on now. You know, the isolation of COVID-19, Black Lives Matter, or everything that's going on. People will take these giant ideas and complex things that are going on emotionally, and they'll bring it down to a size that someone can listen to and be like, wow, that moved me.
You know, like as you were talking there now, I was thinking of a song.
Thanks for listening.
It was amazing. No, but as you were talking, like it's kind of like what Willy Wonka does with the sweets. He makes like a chicken flavored chewing gum. Like it's an impossible combination, but it allows you to taste chicken without having to eat the chicken, kind of thing, you know. And a perfect example of that, I think, is a nice song which is super simple. It's in C. It's John Lennon's Imagine. I know I mentioned it last week, but I think of it again. I think it's such a profound song, especially in the time that we're living in now. And we listen to a song like that.
You can say that
I'm a dreamer. Yeah, man.
But I'm not
the only one.
No, I'm not the only
I
one.
actually wrote that song about some margarine that went off in my fridge, but everyone thinks it was much deeper than that.
Thank you, John.
Pleasure.
But things like that, I mean, it's such a simple chord progression, and it's such a simple melody. I know you're massive into melody and harmony and the composition of music. In fact,
polyphony.
you were.
Sorry, I thought you
Kyle was smashing us to pieces with his words earlier. We were
He's
just like,
very homophonic.
yeah, homophonic and stuff like that. I was like, what is that even a thing? So, but yeah, I mean, like sometimes simplicity is actually key. That's what makes a nursery rhyme so effective. It sticks in your head.
Yeah.
It's an earworm.
Yeah.
But the message as well.
Yeah, it's one thing to be technical in terms of music and frequencies and rhythms. It's another thing to encode meaning. And sure, there's ways around arranging, but you can't really knuckle down how you encode meaning into your art. Like, I think that's what makes each musician unique, and that's why people have favorites. And you know, it's not like they think that person's music is better than anyone else. It speaks to them.
Yeah.
And no music theory in the world, I think, can teach you how to encode meaning in such a way that it can be decoded on the other end by listeners.
Completely agree
and
with
take,
you.
like you said, this big thing and make it small enough to get their head around and to feel your message.
Because
That's
if you, that's magic, dude. Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Can I say though, I think, you know, obviously you get music that sounds complicated. Maybe to the other person who's written it, it's simple, but you, it's complicated. And then you get music that's like simple, like, you know, and we're speaking about pop just now, right? I think make a decision and say, this is the kind of music I'm going to do. And then choose what, I mean, like, and then however people respond, you've got to just understand. So don't be like, it's like, yeah, but people don't take my music seriously. I'm like, well, dude, I mean, you're doing.
Do you know why? It's because you take
Like,
your
have
music
you
too
heard your
seriously.
music? Like, it's okay.
It's like
You're
when,
making-
when you
you
when
know?
you go, people don't take my music seriously. It's because you take your music too seriously.
Do you know what I mean? And
It's
I'm
like
just
it's
like-
straight up. You're giving too much credence to other people's opinions, and it's a very personal experience. When I listen to a song and you listen to a song, and we've had this discussion many, many times. You're like, "This is the best song I've ever heard." I'm like, "Oh my God, please let it stop." You know, because it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
And that's what
'cause
we
you
have. We
have-
have different
you have
tastes
ter-
in
you
women.
have
We have different
terrible
tastes in
taste.
cars. I do have terrible taste according to you. For me, it's the perfect taste. But just according to my wife and I, you are my favorite. We can take any song.
Yeah.
And the core, the soul, the heart and soul of that song, the message will stay the same. And that's why you can arrange it. I think that's where arranging comes in. You can alter the packaging. You can rebrand the chocolate, dog. You
But
can
the song
put your
still
own.
remains
But
the
the song is the song is
Yeah.
the song is the song is the song. And when you choose to sing, you can say, I'm a dream. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Well, that's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad, yeah. Thanks. But
I know
that's
what you-
why
I know what you mean.
that's why that doesn't exist.
I know what you mean. Like, I've often thought if you can do a song in any style, and it's still a hit, then it's a hit.
Then
you
it's
know?
a hit.
Yeah.
Then it's a hit.
Because the
And
core of the song
completely.
Classics are made.
is
Yeah,
is the
dude,
meaning
that's
of
a
it, it's not the
standard. That's the
arrangement.
difference between a standard. But then one begs, you got to go all the way back, and you go back to Swing City, because I'll go back to Swing City because I want to talk Swing City after we do you, which is going to be quite shortly now.
Yeah.
That music just seemed to have all of it.
Yeah.
Just seemed to have a timeless quality about it. I don't know if it was because of the genre, that kind of jazzy style genre, whether it was the content, whether it was just the vocalists of the time or the arrangers of the time, because quite often they would give if you were a Nat Cole or a Bobby Darin or a Frank Sinatra, they would give you a song. Paul Anka would write. He wrote "My Way" for Frank. You know, and then you just think about that song, and you're like, I think we've done that song so many times we actually hate it now. But people love it. And why do people love it? What is it about that song? And why did they manage to write so many smash hits back then that still live now? And yet we throw away the song 2 weeks after it's been on the charts and it's allegedly a number one. What makes the timeless quality exist? Is it the time?
I think I can add a bit to that.
Please.
I know a bit of the history, that sort of time era, the Swing City, Tin Pan Alley. Like you said, there were songwriters and they ended up giving them on to vocalists to use. That was their job, was to write these songs. But it was very different back then to how it is now. They would just write melody. They'd sit at home. They didn't have Logic open and everything. And they sang things to themselves and came up with the lyrics and melody. And that was it. The arranger's job was to write the chords, was to do the orchestration and everything, and then the hiring the band. The songwriter was just melody, lyrics, nothing else, no fancy programs. And it was actually from that time that now we know the rights to a song. It's if you write the melody and the lyrics, you have the rights to the song. And now lyrics have their own, rights as well.
Yes.
But if I write all the music to your song, but you wrote the melody and the lyrics, that's your song.
Yeah.
And it comes from back then when the songwriters, and that's where the heart
So
of the
maybe
song
what
of it.
that says, right, is the fact that if I can strip your song down to just a guitar and voice, or to just a piano and voice,
Or just a
and
voice,
it's still a song. I mean, if you can do it to just a voice, you gotta smash. Okay?
Smash it, bro.
And it's still a song. That is a good song. I always believe that, especially as a songwriter, some of our best songs were probably when we were young.
Yeah.
We only just played piano. We never knew that we'd ever get in front of a mic. There'll be all these great producers. I mean, now when I think of a song already, I've got the whole arrangement in my head.
But how many
songs?
How many songs that were a success came to you like that? It fell out of you.
Yeah, I'd probably say the first songs that I ever wrote. So like that first and second album, because there was no pressure of.
Okay, we're going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about first and second album. I'm so glad you brought that up. But we have to hear you sing your song first, and then we can talk about
It's
it.
one of those songs, actually.
Okay, was it one of those songs?
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
the song?
The song is called Dali Wami.
Daliwambi, fantastic.
Didn't he present People of the South?
No, man.
No, man, that's Dolly Tumble, bro.
Oh,
I've actually got one of those pillars. I should have brought it here. Really? I should have brought that pillar. I want to bring it. I want to bring it for you. Great.
Please, bro. Please, man.
Okay.
Please. Okay, so you're going to go and sing while Loyiso sings. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little bell so that you know when we come on, and you can be entertained by people like we've got in the studio today. Amazing musicians talking about how they put songs together, and just talking music in general. And hopefully you at home, if you've got anything to say about it, please don't hesitate to drop us a line, send us a comment, suggest people that you'd like to see on the show. And don't forget to hit that basket code to keep this platform alive. Thanks again for watching. Mr. Loyiso Bala.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, let's go. This is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Dali wamdi yakuthanda ngenhliziyo yami yonke ndizokuthanda side soluphale mina nawe nobi nabi nokuphela thathe yam ndingakufela ngoba mina ndiyaziqhenya ngawe sithandwa senhliziyo yami. I don't ever know why I've been waiting when it's so clear our love is growing. Give me a day when we'll get married, grow to be in one. Don't ever stress, I'll give you no less than what you deserve. I'm here to impress. Girl, just confess, you'll be my princess. I'll be your man and you'll be my girl. Dali wamdi yakuthanda ngenhliziyo yami yonke ndizokuthanda side soluphale mina nawe nobi nabi nokuphela thathe yam ndingakufela ngoba mina ndiyaziqhenya ngawe sithandwa senhliziyo yami. I'll give you good love, I'll take you higher. Baby, let's cruise to your desire. Start off the fire, let's get on to things that we gonna do. Girl, don't forget, you know I love you. We make a dream that others want to. Be me and you when we together. We forever, that's how we do. Cause dali wamdi yakuthanda ngenhliziyo yami yonke ndizokuthanda side soluphale mina nawe nobi nabi nokuphela thathe yam ndingakufela ngoba mina ndiyaziqhenya ngawe sithandwa senhliziyo yami. And if we get to go way before my feelings show, my love will still be there. I'll take them anywhere. Dali wamdi yakuthanda ngenhliziyo yami yonke ndizokuthanda side soluphale mina nawe nobi nabi nokuphela thathe yam ndingakufela. Oh baby, oh baby, ngoba mina ndiyaziqhenya ngawe sithandwa senhliziyo yami.
So that was Loyiso Bala with his track Dolly Tumble for people of the South. Can you hear me now? There was a technical area. Sorry so much. Okay, that was Loyiso Bala with his track Dolly Tumble from People of the South. And we'd just like to say a huge thank you as well to our camera guy and our sound engineer. The video quality is looking amazing and it is sounding unbelievable too. Come on back on, Lawyer. Big round of applause, man.
Beautiful.
Sounded great, dude.
Beautiful.
Sounded unbelievable.
you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Such a nice, talk about a nice arrangement, just nice chords. You used such beautiful chords there. Just great, man.
Awesome, man.
Talk us through it.
Thank you.
Talk us through it.
So, I mean, I've always loved, writing songs that represent who I am. I remember coming into the scene, obviously through TKZ first, and then I did some R&B at the time. There was no one doing it then. I think there was a group called Sold Out. They sold out.
Lol.
Yeah. But they were really
You mean
cool.
they
They're
sold
great-
out what
they're
they
great
believe
guys.
in? They sold
Yeah.
out what they believe in, or
No,
to the
so they had, I mean, like they'd been around for like 2 years, and so when I started with this, you know, at the time Kwaito was, I mean, like Kwaito was huge. House was also still a thing back then already, and obviously, you know, all the traditional stuff. You know what I mean? And I remember there was a journalist who wrote about me and said, yeah, you know, this fake American stuff. But yet I said to her, and I'm like, you know, because we're speaking about fake, you know, and I was like, I think being fake doesn't necessarily mean that you're not doing what people think you should be, you know? Being fake. So I mean, like, I do not I thought was fake. What I thought was fake were artists who were masquerading themselves as Xhosa singers, but yet they didn't even speak the language. Do you know what I mean? So just because it's African, it doesn't mean that
Kind
it's
of like
real, because
Jacob
we're African.
Zuma's sign
Do you know
language.
what I mean? I think being real
Guy.
means being yourself. So that's why my songs, if you listen to that song, Daliwami, it's a mixture of Xhosa, I mean, like it's Xhosa and English. Why? Because that's how I speak. Okay, to you guys, I've got to speak English the whole time, because you don't understand all the words. But,
you
but
can
that's how
you can
I
speak closer.
Yeah.
We just might not.
You'll just smile and go, yes. So I mean, like, so I think that, you know, for me, being real means that the way that I sing. So if all of a sudden, like, it's like I'm speaking like this, you know, like I'm like, hey guys, how are you? Then I sing, I'm like, but you don't speak like that. Hey, how are you? It's like, so why does your tone change? You know what I mean? But just because it's like the tone of the time, you know?
I hear you, bro.
And it happens with even with rock, you know, like with
I
rock, with
completely
rock singers,
did.
like this guy.
know what you're
Yeah.
talking
It's like this guy's like,
Hi,
With arms
Yeah,
were
hi,
different.
oh yeah. So that's what I mean. So I think, you know, for us to be real, we have to be who we are. I began to write gospel music because I couldn't think about anybody else but Jesus. Do you know what I mean? I used to write love songs because all I thought about was girls. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And relationships.
I
So
love
now
how you
was
like, I used to
over it.
write love songs because all I thought about was girls, not love. Just, just girls. Yeah, man. I used to sing songs about
know what I
lust. Yeah, man.
But I think I'd rather someone that becomes themselves, because the worst thing I'd hate is for someone to say, oh, you know what, I want to sing gospel music because it's the most loved thing, but yet their life was not about, I mean, like,
So-
their life is not about that.
Yeah.
We're just talking about being real, not
No,
so
but I'm
much
talking about being
you
real.
know?
So, but I mean, it is possible to be a fake gospel artist in a sense. I mean,
Yeah.
to sing about something that you just in it for the dollar, you know. And I mean, it is a massive industry. It's probably one of the most lucrative music genres you can go into. I mean, I think the only thing more lucrative is gospel country, quite literally. That's the next one. And I know they're the same. I'm making a joke, but
Johnny,
but I
you,
mean,
you got something there. You wanna?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to talk about. So I grew up in the church, obviously, and I was introduced to music through the church as well. So playing on the worship team at church and everything like that. And I hit a conundrum when I started learning more about music, and you learn about the tools of music. So in music, you know, you'll go to a minor and it has a sadder sound, you know.
because they work underground.
Make them cry.
You play gently on a piano, maybe high in the higher registers, throw a pad under there, and you've got this like meditative, beautiful sound, you know. You've got the drums
I
banging,
know where you're
you know,
going,
and
I
then
know
you
where you're
get
going,
all
yeah.
happy and you know. So as you discover these tools, because I started music quite late. I started playing guitar when I was 18 or something, so I started learning these tricks almost, and then you're using them in a worship team. So you're like, okay, now
The worship chords, yeah.
yeah. So now
Jesus.
someone wants to pray. We gotta play the beautiful prayer thing high on the piano keys pad, you know, and my brain sort of really battled with this. I had this horrible internal conflict about it because what was I doing? Was I manipulating people? And the only way I could make peace with it eventually is that it is manipulation, but the word manipulate is a very negative connotation.
I
whereas
hear-
it
I know-
actually
I know
means-
what you mean, though.
It actually means mold out of clay.
Yes, to
Mold clay.
manipulate something,
Yeah.
yes. To form it.
So when you're manipulating someone, you're giving them an opportunity to take them where they want to be, because obviously they want to
So maybe
be.
you're steering them.
You are. That's exactly what it is. But I still battle with it because I see too many similarities between popular music and gospel Christian music now. So that's why I personally just can't do gospel.
Yes.
Because I see it as like, people would say to you after a service at church, like, man, I love that one song. Can you play that one song more? Because I don't like the other ones. I like that one song. And what you're basically doing is you're not taking any of the lyrics into account, the meaning behind it. If there are, a lot of worship songs are also really lacking in that department, theology. But you're taking those and you're making it into hits, basically. Like when you walk into like a Christian music shop and you see the top 10 worship songs, and you're like,
I know.
How does that really work?
I hear you. I do hear you. I mean, one could argue, if I were to throw a spanner in the works, one could argue that you could play the same series of chords with the same melody and have a Christian, an atheist, and a Buddhist in the room, and only the Christian would be like, this is amazing, and then the Buddhist and the atheist would be like, it's not really moving me. But I suppose if you're wanting to be led and you allow yourself to be led by those chords or that environment of around people where people are worshiping, but in the same regard, I tend to agree with you as well, that it can be misconstrued and almost faked in a sense.
I think it's
But
harder
that's
for the musician though. It's actually it doesn't seem to affect people listening to it that much. People are like, this is cool, I love this, whatever, I just had a personal problem with it because I knew what I was doing and I felt I was being inauthentic.
But that's why I think it's not so much about the people who react to it, but it was probably more about your position, about your state. Do you know what I mean? Because
for sure.
Because I mean, how many times, like when we were younger, before gospel music, before any of us had actually listened to gospel music, when there's a certain song that you sat and you listened to like 24/7, all because it spoke to your situation. So in other words, your walk, your life, what you're going through is going to be impacted by the songs that you listen to.
Which
Because
makes
now
us
that
go
I'm
full
older,
circle. Which makes us go
now-
full circle. So you can superimpose a song and make it relevant to you, justify it to yourself
But also
emotionally.
because of what you're experiencing at that
time.
At that time. But it's not about the song. It's all about your experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for instance, one of my songs could have meant so much to someone at the time because they just broken up with their boyfriend, because usually boys break up with girls. And
Not in my scenarios.
Me neither.
Never once.
and son is like, this song speaks to my situation, and the guy comes and tells you, and you're like, that song had nothing to do with that. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know where that is music. I don't know, is music like a living thing, or is it something that's outside of us? Because sometimes people feel something that you didn't intend to do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time,
Subjective.
artists actually hate talking about what their songs are about a lot of the time because they're worried it alienates people from listening to it.
Right.
Because the greatest example I have of this is Twilight, the movie. Bella Swan, the girl in it. So yeah, that one. Well, those legs anyway.
Thanks.
There was a review I read about it where it said she has no personality, and that is tactical because what 16-year-old girls do who
They want
read
to
the book or watch
superimpose-
the movie,
they want to be bitten by
superimpose
Edward
their
Cullen.
own personality onto it. If it was a strong personality, then it might conflict with theirs and they wouldn't be as attracted to the book. So it's similar with songwriting. It's almost like the vaguer you are, the better. That's why you get so many songs like na 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 na. Oh wow, the song speaks to me so much.
And also,
I
it's
love
easy.
bananas.
You can sing along to it. That's a huge thing as well. Like a
It's,
lot of
it's actually the part of pop songwriting that's the most skillful, is doing that. When a part of our pop composition course, because I studied music at Wits, as I've told you guys before, I've majored in composition.
No need to
We did a class
brag.
with Jonathan Crosley.
Yeah.
we did a class with Jonathan Crosley about pop songwriting, and the rules were no more than an octave range, no funny jazz chords, no reharms. You use the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chords. You don't need the others. And lastly, it was taking a frame board and making that vague enough so that you know the meaning, but anyone could have any meaning to it. And the songboard we had was an alien walks into church, and the pastor's daughter walks out at the same time, but they fall in love into like a forbidden sort of thing. And then there was a bit more on the storyboard, and they were like, and he was like, go write a pop song that could be on the radio today, musically and lyrically. All of us came
And
back
it
with
worked,
songs
yeah.
that worked.
Yeah.
You'll never get that backstory. You will have your perception put on it. I still use the song that I wrote for that. And I promise you now, you won't hear a word of it until I tell you that backstory. You'll listen to the song and you'll be like, he described every word of that storyboard. But without that, you'll think normal pop song about
But
normal
you see,
pop things.
like I love that because I mean that's ultimately what we're in business here. That's why we're doing what we're doing right now, is to learn about the backstory. Because what Khan said the other day about his song, "Giant Mistake," he had this kind of thing with the Oasis. Do you remember that whole thing where he kind of spoke about how Noel Gallagher did that thing? I can't even remember the line. It was, what was it? Son, elegantly sailed. I can't even remember.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
but you know what I mean?
yeah.
But I mean, you find out, and you've never have picked that up.
Elegantly wasted.
Elegantly
tasted,
wasted, yes.
you
Tasted
that
something
word.
or the other,
Yeah.
yes. But I mean, you'd never have picked that up. Don't laugh. But the point I'm trying to make is,
You
okay.
have some inside jokes, you know what I mean?
So I can't remember. I just can't remember. I can't remember the lyrics. Don't judge me.
I got it.
Don't prejudge. It's late. It's been a long week. But you said earlier, like your first two albums, and I actually want to disagree with you. I think it's your first album. I think your first
Yeah, your first album,
is
yeah,
generally the best album, and then the second album happens, which is probably your worst, and I'll tell you why. Then the third one happens, which is kind of a combination of the two. Then you give up music, and then you make a comeback, and then that one's quite good again.
Well, so
Yeah.
I'm in the give up stage.
Are you in the give up stage? It's cool, man. Don't worry, bro. There's a fifth one in your pocket. Okay. So the first one is there's no pressure. You're exploring yourself as an artist, and generally you write a body of work that is honest to you. It's different. It's truthful. It speaks to a number of people.
But you've also had 18 years writing that album before you recorded it. If
True.
you were 19 years old when you recorded,
Yes.
and the next one you only had
Yeah,
one year.
often you've
you
written
know?
about 100 songs and then you just pick 10.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But then you write your second album, and the second album is peer pressure. It's
yeah,
expectation.
Because
it's
you tasted now.
yeah.
You
I've
know
got
what
to
I
keep
mean?
up the standards,
Yeah.
and then I've got to write. You know what? You know who loved it? Oh, my auntie Margaret's friend who was burning. She loved it. So I'm going to write this next song with
Why
her
was
in
she-
mind.
why was she
just
burning?
burning. She was hot.
And she
It's
liked
an
track
example.
number
You know,
3.
she liked track number
You're
3.
too close,
So I'm going to
yeah.
try and recreate track number 3, and then you realize that album just is naff. Then you write the third album.
Haven't had that word
But chances are that sequel sold more
Yeah.
than your first one.
But
you
then,
know?
yeah, but then the third album happens, and it's a kind of combination of the two, and then you give up music, and then you write your big one again. The point I'm trying to make is that, like, the first one is, in essence, what we all strive to do when we sit down and play, is to create an honest piece of yourself that you're going to give to somebody else. Because it's a gift, it's an exchange. It's a language that everybody speaks, but not everybody can write it.
I had a slightly different path,
Okay.
I feel. My first album was one where I got signed. So I wrote the album with the label, and they suggested a bunch
Is
of
this
songs.
post-Project Fame days?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was on a reality show for those people
Yeah,
who don't
yeah.
know, and I got a record contract out of that. So I
It was like an idol's big brother.
Yeah.
Big Brother Idol.
Yeah.
And so we wrote the album sort of with a lot of, other people over the shoulder, like going.
It's called A&R.
That's it. There you go. A&R. And they were sort of, making suggestions, which probably would have been amazing had we just run with it. But at that, at that age that I was at, you're very anti-establishment. You're like, man, I don't want to give it to the label, man. Yeah. Labels are evil. They're gonna just crush my soul, So I had their probably great marketing ideas that would have made it do really well, and my crappy attitude meeting and putting out a bit of a mediocre offering in a way, And then the second one was same as yours, where it went completely down in quality. And then the third one was actually our best one, but that was the last one we've done.
So yeah,
we gave up after that.
So yeah, for me, Corridors was a massive album. It did amazing things for GWP.
What's that?
Corridors of the Mind, my first album was Graham Watkins' project. which was a mega. It was it really kind of shot us into, and it
the one like in the park and stuff with all the
yeah, the
Cirque
clowns
du
and stuff.
Soleil
Yes, that
vibes.
was the
Oh,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was nice.
yeah. And then there was a try and recreate that melody. No lyrics. Thank you so much, Freshly Ground. So doobie, that was actually where I got. It was like doobie doo. They did it, so we can do it. Yeah. So, but like that album it had something special. It was 4 guys that got together and we're kind of discovering each other as human beings and as people.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a sexy album. But also exploring each other in a musical context, finding out where each other fits. Each person brought their own element. Each person brought their own ideas and their own sound, which created this hybrid of which I think is one of the best albums I've ever been involved
Graham,
in.
I got to tell you, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, Corridors of the Mind, dude.
Appreciate
It's
it.
on my top 10 albums that I go to. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, my brother.
You know what? And I think as a musician, that's always great to hear, but not when you've just released your 7th album.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Listen, Coldplay, Parachutes was the best album you've ever done. Sorry.
Listen, I mean, that first one for me
Really, yeah.
was the one.
That big hit you had in the 90s, bro. Mad, bro.
We
You know
are
that
running
one
out of
that
time,
has
guys.
never
I
been
gotta-
topped
I
by
gotta-
any of the
yeah.
crap you've put out recently?
Yeah,
That one.
yeah.
So good. Go
Yeah.
back to that.
But then we tried really hard in Soldier On. We tried too hard. We tried to take what we thought worked from the second album and put that into every single song. And as a result, we created something that wasn't us. It was actually removed from us. It was a product of a cognitive sort of process as opposed to an emotional one, which the first one was. So I think people can fall into that, especially as a young songwriter.
Yeah.
You're writing now, and just write, man. Let it come out of you, and don't write. We said it last week, and I'll say it again. Don't write for somebody else because you think that somebody else will enjoy it. If it makes you feel something, chances are it's going to make somebody else feel something.
And you know what? And at least if it never sells to not even one person, at least
You'll
it
enjoy it.
pleased- It pleased someone. At least there is someone. There's nothing worse than going, you know, people don't like it. You're like, oh man, Ashton, I thought that they would. And then you also don't like it either. And you're like, but why didn't I just do the
But
right
how many songs out
So
there?
guys, we are running out of time.
Are we?
Yeah. We gotta.
We've only just begun,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Well, I
begun.
mean, we
It's
can
a-
talk afterwards.
Yeah,
but
I
we
mean,
gotta.
but like
It's a 2-hour-long show today.
you know, yeah, just on that, you know, I know what you're saying now, and you know, we all said like, there's that song that you also hate the most that you've ever written. That also people's favorites. I have one of those.
Yeah,
as
there
well.
is that
But
as
I'm just
well.
like, why don't you ever sing that song? It's my favorite. I'm like, it's because I hate it. But, you know. But on that note, we've loved having you guys here. Thank you so much, my
Swing
friends.
City in the house. How
Swing
cool
City,
is that?
Loyiso
Yeah.
Bala, Nathan
Jeez.
Rowe from Lonely Estates and the Bala Brothers and Loyiso Bala Project. So it's just been incredible having you guys. You are incredible human beings, incredible musicians in your own right, and very dear friends to me. And thanks for sharing your talent and your time with us. Thanks to my co-host, Carl September. You've been awesome. To the team, boys, thank you for great sound, videography.
guys.
Kendall, you're amazing.
Thank you for sharing your urban crust
Urban
with us.
Crust, thanks Urban Crust for feeding us. And just thanks again for tuning in. If you liked us, please click, subscribe, hit the bell, and more importantly, thanks for supporting SM Music because it's one of the most important things you can do. Thank you. Cheers. Ciao for now. Till next week. Ciao,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Goodbye.
More contagious than Corona, more inviting than the Queen. NTL, we hope the show goes well. And please don't be cock.